How do you go from being a complete beginner to becoming one of the top agents in the area?
The quick version is every week we're hearing AI. The average agent, that they will die.
So many of these young guys and girls that are like, great, I'll get into real estate and I'll start having long lunches and I'll earn $300,000 a year. This is great.
When you're just like, I just want to earn $1 million because I want a Porsche.
Real estate, a lot of people will put up a facade.
What did Caitlin Jenner teach you about real estate?
What you're working towards is where you're going.
Always overestimate what you can do in a year, but underestimate what you can do in 5. When I get successful, then I'm going to be that person, and then I'll do what I need to do. That's crap.
If you've got a goal that you're working towards, take it step by step and just continue doing it. I've got a team, I've got to be a good example, I've got to be on time, I can't just be showing up at 10:30 in the morning.
You know, there's no point doing what we're doing and not getting some sort of enjoyment.
You don't make 200 calls a week, you're not in real estate and grow up, basically.
So, welcome everyone to episode number 3 of the Just List podcast. Thank you guys for checking out the other 2 episodes, which should have came out by the time you're seeing this. And we've got 2 very special guests today, and we'll do a quick little intro for each one of them. So the first person that I'm going to introduce is an area specialist in Rothwell, Deception Bay, and Burpengary. He's one of the top agents in the area, and if my research is correct, he sold over 50 properties as lead agent in the last 12 months. And he is currently Image Properties' top salesperson for the year 2022. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we've got another special guest joining us as well, who works very close with Ben. He has also sold just under 49 properties over the last 12 months.
50 today, mate.
50 today, my bad.
Went
50
over.
today. He's made it even. 50 in the last 12 months. He is specializing in Marumba Downs, Kalanga, and Dakabin up here in the north side of Queensland. Joel,
Thank you.
good show.
No, thanks for having us, mate.
How you guys doing? How's everything?
Good, man. We just got back from 3-day weekend down at Aric, so
That's right.
hit the ground running today, trying to catch back up after a couple of days on the coast and learning. But mate, I'm doing well.
Ben?
Yeah, same. I mean, I actually had a little bit more time off. I had a wedding before then
Oh, cool.
that I went to as well. But no, Aric, Australian Real Estate Conference was great. Good time away, and we stayed at the coast and heard some good speakers. And I think like this period of time, I noticed when everyone's kind of comes back from New Year's, we've got energy, we're excited, you hit the ground running, like, yeah, just had my holiday. And it's kind of around this time, it starts getting colder, you know, stock slows down a little bit, everyone loses momentum. So for us, it's been a good thing the last few years that we've been going, and just gives that energy spike straight to that, you know, basically until spring, finish off
the year,
Yeah, we start sort of seeing some, you know, better stock come on.
Awesome. And I saw, on your Instagrams that you both posted that you were at Aric. So how was it? Because I saw a lineup and it was insane. And I'm sure a ton of value and a ton of like really cool speakers there. For those of us like me couldn't get to go, what are like your biggest takeaways? We got biggest highlight moments. Start with you, Ben.
Yeah, so one thing, I mean, it's funny, we just spoke about that before sort of this started. You know, a thing that's really interesting is obviously every week we're hearing AI, right? So it's a really big thing coming to our industry. You know, a lot of people are taking it, freaking out and going, holy shit, are we going to have a job? Sorry for my language.
No.
But, you know, the way I look at that is it just means that we've got to do more.
Yeah.
So, right, you know, the average agent doing 15 deals a year, you know, part-time basically, and not, you know, not sort of committed to it, that they will die. They will be a dying breed. And, you know, we're talking about how do we go from, you know, early 50 transactions to that sort of 80 mark to really cement our place, you know, in this marketplace, our authority, and, you know, just help more people. So I think that the big thing for me was, you know, never letting go of the human factor.
Yeah.
Right? Use that AI to build your business, be more efficient, but, you know, never let go of what's important, which is, you know, genuinely helping people and catching up with them. And also another thing that I probably learned from it is that, you know, team structures are incredibly important.
Okay.
You know, focusing sort of exactly on the task at hand. You know, not having someone do everything, going, this is what I'm doing, this is what you're doing, this is what the next person's doing, and that's it. You know,
Right.
Really hyper-focused on your roles.
Right. So the human factor, you think, would be your biggest takeaway from that event.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. What about you, John?
But it was sort of playing on from what Ben mentioned, I suppose. One of the things that the real estate industry has to contend with is that there are some shitheads, right? When you're in a room full of 4,000 people who you can tell are genuinely there to get better in their career, in how they can provide service, like it's a pretty big eye-opener to the actual industry, or that section of the industry anyway. So that was a really cool takeaway for me. I mean, I've been going to ARIC since 2016. I go every year except for the one for COVID. I always go, as Ben said, it's a great recharge for the year. I always learn one or two things. I mean, I've been doing it for a while now, so I don't necessarily need to sit there and listen to how to prospect and how to do a listing presentation. I've done plenty of those, but there's always those little nuggets that are in there. That was really cool. Some of the international speakers that they had, there were some that I really thought that I wouldn't enjoy that were actually my favourite.
Yeah, what was some of those?
Caitlyn Jenner, to be honest, I thought, what are you going to have to tell us about real estate? You know, what's your best listing script? She's not going to have one, but the actual story, and she told it as Bruce, which was really interesting. The whole story about the decathlon and winning the Olympics and never giving up and living your authentic truth. I thought that was really cool because in real estate, a lot of people will put up a facade, right? Mate, I'm wearing a suit now. I don't usually wear a suit. Like you came here the other day, I go, Adam, who we work with, hates it because I'll go show a buyer a house in a t-shirt with our name, image on it and all of that sort of gear. But, you know, in real estate, a lot of people will put up a facade to put on this, you know, they got the $100,000 car that they can't afford to eat. Because you know, but that was really cool. I like I said, I didn't think I'd get much from that speech, but that was actually my favourite one. So it was a really cool weekend. Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon as well.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
What
Unreal.
An incredible woman. So,
Unreal.
I mean, my perception of her was she's an actress, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
about it. Yeah, incredible.
Legally Blonde.
You know, she's a billionaire. She's some of the companies that she runs. You know, full directing business that's, you know, focused solely around women, giving them the opportunity in the industry to not only be actresses but actually evolve. Yeah, incredible. There's some cool stuff.
Really cool stuff.
What's something? So I've got two of yours. Like I'll give one to each of you. So with Reese, what was the biggest takeaway that you got from her sort of presentation on ARIC, and how are you going to now, I guess, take that and put it into your own business and hopefully change things around in a new and fresh way?
Yeah, so for me, you know, there was probably two things that really stood out to me. One is we have this crazy thing in our industry, which is like, when I get successful, and another speaker spoke about this as well, so that Ryan Serhan, that was there, right? Phenomenal. Same thing, it's like, when I get successful, then I'm going to be that person, and then I'll do what I need to do. That's crap, right? I mean, we all had to go through a phase. Like I was, you know, 18 in real estate. I had my green piece still on my car. I wore a 3-piece suit because that's what my boss told me to. You know, had suits that didn't fit, and I went to appointments and I just hit my car up the back. But there's got to be a point in time where you just say, I'm here and I understand that, and that's okay. Where I want to be is there. It doesn't mean money. That could be health. That could be emotional intelligence. It could be relationships, whatever. I'm going to act like a person that's there. You know, in our industry, if I want to make $1 million every year in GCI, I'm going to act like a person that does, which means I'm never late to appointments. I dress well. I smell well. I always, you know, show up in a good mood. Maybe that's training before work. That was a really cool thing. She's clearly at a phase where she doesn't need to do that. But she just pushes hard. That to me is exciting. You know, living a life that, you know, you want to. And the other thing is having passion projects. That's what I really learned from her that I love. She's got, you know, her directing business, very, very profitable, still does movies, still, you know, plays in those roles, helps people in those roles. Then she talked about a really interesting thing where she has a book club. And she said, look, it's definitely not a revenue driver.
Yeah.
But what it does is provide and solely focused on women creating, these incredible books, pushing them out to an audience. So once it's getting more sales, and then she actually links that in with her business that every year they do 1 or 2 and they create those into movies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, you can't imagine that would make her a lot of money.
Yeah.
Probably a loss. But if you have things that drive you that way, it's really easy to be, passionate about doing 50, 60, 100, 150 deals a year. If you go, well, some of that money is actually going towards what I love to do. It might be, looking after your family. It might be travel. It might be donating charity, whatever. When you have those on the side, it's really easy to be motivated. When you're just like, I just want to earn $1 million because I want a Porsche.
Yeah.
Doesn't really get you too far. After a while, you're gonna get over it.
Yeah. Awesome. And Joel, what did Caitlin Jenner teach you about real estate?
Nothing so much about real estate, more just true grit. It's a bit confusing. Like, she was telling the story as Bruce. So, it was talking about, it was funny actually, he was telling the story about the Russian guy, I forget the name, I don't know, I can't remember the guy's name, but how he used to dream about him. And, because they were in different time zones, how he would tell himself, I'm in America, I know you're in bed, right? So I'm getting tough while you're in bed sleeping. And just that real true grit stuff I thought was quite incredible. And, the quote that they mentioned, every setback is a learning on your way to success. That's probably one of the top 3 things that really stood out for me in that the whole conference, because in real estate, like, we're both coming off a pretty average month in terms of listings and sales. We've been doing this for a long time. You go through those things. You'll have an average month, and the next month you'll back it up with 8 listings, and then they just happen, right? It's a setback, but at the end what you're working towards is where you're going. So I think that was really the big takeaway from it is, if you've got a goal that you're working towards, take it step by step and just continue doing it. That was the big message from her.
And
talk.
also, amazing what she did in 4 years.
Yeah.
So realistically, went to the first Olympics, qualified for it, got in, and then it was the next Olympics where she just said, "This is it. Like, nothing else exists. I'm giving this everything." And I think that's funny what people think. Like, real estate's a really good industry for that because, there's a saying that they go, you always overestimate what you can do in a year, but underestimate what you can do in 5, 3 or 10. It's the same thing. Like, the amount of people that we saw on the stage that are, you talk about 10 years, 15 years, and then they just say, the last 5 years things kicked off.
Yeah.
The last 7 years things kicked off. Like, these are guys that, I can speak for myself. This is my 10th year in real estate. Yeah, the first 5 years, you just kind of figure it out. Don't get me wrong, there's some people that get in the industry and in 2 years they're flying. Good on them. The average person, though, at least looking at a 3-year apprenticeship before you really understand what this industry is about. So, that was cool.
That was something that Tom Ferry, the real estate trainer, was talking about too. He said it takes a decade to do anything meaningful.
Yeah.
Anything that's genuinely meaningful that you want to do well will take you at least 10 years to get there. And everyone wants to get into real estate.
Yeah, of course.
And we get so many of these young guys and girls that are like, great, I'll get into real estate and I'll start having long lunches and I'll earn $300,000 a year. This is great. That's why real estate's got a 99% leave rate. Yeah, dropout rate in the first 12 months. But
it's tough. It's a very tough business, which is why it says a lot about the people that last than like the people who are, because from the outset it's all flashy cars and all this, like you said, the facade people put out. But what it actually takes to stay in an industry like this is not what people think.
And it's super competitive as well. And that was another thing that Caitlin Jenner spoke about, was loving your opposition. Because while he was Bruce and doing the decathlon and training for that, like I said, the gentleman that he was thinking about every day and going, I'm getting better than you, that was his driver. Right, your competition makes you better. If I was the only real estate agent in Dacabin and I had nobody else in there, like, I'm competing against some guys that are doing 160 sales a year. Yeah. Like, you got to be sharp.
That kind of grit and determination is what it really takes to succeed.
Yeah.
And it's weird because when you're thinking of like Bruce Jenner, like American hero athlete, and you're looking at us in the real estate industry in Australia in 2023, all it is like worlds apart what it is exactly that we do. But the underlying factor, what it takes to do what needs to be done and get what you need to get, is almost always similar. What it really takes. Just super fascinating. Which brings me to another little segue that we're going to do. Ben, you are very, very much into fitness. I've been following your Instagram for a while, and this man's a monster. He was like, I think one day before meeting you the other day, I checked your story out, and you were trying to clean and press 100 or something. Yeah, holy shit, man. So tell me about it. What's like, usually I don't see too many agents that are like this crazy into fitness. And you do like, are you into powerlifting and how does it become part of your
So
diet?
basically it's the scary word that no one wants to say, but it's CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Yeah, so
okay.
I like that sort of stuff, which is just, Olympic lifting, gymnastics and cardio, basically what it is.
Gymnastics.
Yeah, a fair bit of that in there as well. When I was young, just loved the gym. I just thought it was good. And actually why I started was because I was at uni and I found out that if I went to the gym, I could sleep less and still not feel as bad. So that's how it actually started.
Wait. If you went to the gym more, you'd be able to sleep less?
Yeah.
How did that work? Wait.
I found like I was really like tired and exhausted in the day. But if I could go to the gym and do like an hour session, I could, rather than having 8 hours sleep, I could live off 6 and I'd be fine.
So you would sleep better in that 6 than you would in the usual
I guess so. And the other thing then, I actually went to a conference and they just, Richard Branson was there and he mentioned that it was some statistic, it was something like, the most successful people in the world, like 70% of them are up before 6 a.m. and exercising. I'm like, cool, that makes sense. And I did everything, like I, got to a running phase. I'm, trying to do some running at the moment now as well. And for me, it was just like, well, it's easy because it's all indoors. I can go do it. I have someone plan it. You rock up there, you do a class for an hour.
All right.
Stretch or do something after.
So it's all like pre-planned. It's not like, I guess,
I don't think about
I'm like super, like, whenever I go to the gym, it's just classic, just like lifting, and just some cardio here and there. So it's like CrossFit just seems like, it seems more intense, but it's also like such a different way of working out.
Yeah. So it's just a bit of everything. Like we do some stuff that's like normal gym hypertrophy stuff as well. You do a bit of strength, like gymnastics, like rings and stuff like that as well. Handstands, walking, all that. So I got into it. I went with a friend. I was like, look, I'll go with you, but this is not really my cup of tea. I'm just into the gym and this stuff's embarrassing. I've heard bad stuff about it. I did one session, I was hooked. And I do it 6 days a week. I love it.
6 days a week? Wow.
Yeah. Well, you got to think like our big day is Saturday. And I found that as soon as we like to drink sometimes on Friday, and as soon as I incorporated that Saturday session, that stopped. Right. So, rather than having later nights and drinking on Friday, for instance, I just know I've got training tomorrow, so I'm sharp. So, if I want to enjoy that sort of the Saturday night.
And how has fitness and taking fitness as like one of the key aspects of your life and just putting that process there, how has that actually helped you in your professional life? Yeah, so
it helps me get up earlier. So I'm inherently lazy. So the group session's a good thing. One, I don't have to plan it. So, I'm fanatical that when I was going to the gym, I'd write a plan. And so that just gets annoying. Well, you just do the same thing, right? Which is bench every because that's what you want to do. Maybe a bit of arms.
It's the only ones that count.
Every day.
Yeah. So, just getting that done, I'm just going, great. It's already planned. I don't have to think about it. The other thing which is really fascinating is obviously when you're in a group setting, like if I didn't go for 2 or 3 days, I'm religious about it. But if I didn't, like for instance, this weekend, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Monday, I was away the whole time.
Yeah.
I ended up going to the gym Monday night, came home, and I went Friday morning. But even not going Saturday, I didn't go Monday. So even not going Saturday, not going Monday, I had people message me where I am.
Oh, that accountability.
Yeah, so it's, obviously I can tell them I'm away next week of that, but then it's like a week.
Right.
So I like that it works for me. It's not for everyone, but it's also like our industry, we don't do any cardio. So, I don't just want to look good, I also want to feel good. Having that, condense it in an hour slot. Some days, as I said, I'll stay there for 2 hours, I'll do extra stuff if I've got a slower start. Some days, morning was quick, as soon as I finished, bang, I was out. So,
Does that give you more energy when it comes to your work as an agent?
100%.
Right.
100%. So, and it's just finding that energy, So, I know we're getting a little bit off topic, but it takes me into my whole day. Like, I know that if you see me, prior to lunch, I am the Energizer Bunny from hell. Like, I am just on, I'm just all over the place, like it's, doing zoomies for a dog. So I like to book appointments in the afternoon because I know that I calm down that little bit. Like I had one at 9 o'clock this morning, which is fine. The client knew it. It was a client that called me in, but I don't like to do first meetings in the morning because I can be very intense.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Joel, speaking of big changes to personal life, you recently became a dad, right?
I did, yes, absolutely.
Now, how has that been? First of all, I know, like we hear it all the time, but experiencing it for the
Dude,
first
it's
time.
wild, man. Like honestly, like everything everyone tells you about your whole life turning upside down is true. Like leading up to it, everyone wants to throw their 2 cents worth in about it's going to change your life and you'll meet this little person and everything will change and you'll hold this blob and, your whole world will just be there. And I was, yeah, whatever, no worries. And then literally the day came and I'm holding my daughter Savannah and I'm just like, oh shit, it's all over. Like, like nothing else matters anymore. So yeah, man, really cool. She's keeping us on our toes. She's 3 months old now. So she's not, sort of racing around or anything yet, but definitely keeping us busy. Yeah. Very soon, yeah. No, it's around the corner. So we've enjoyed the single couple life. Now we're enjoying the daughter that can't move yet, and then soon I'll have to lock everything up and hide everything. So we're enjoying it. Yeah, great fun.
How has it changed the way you work? Because I've noticed that you haven't really, like stepped on the brake. You're actually like doing the same amount of work. There's targets that you're chasing.
Yep.
And in the real estate industry, like you said, just like the baby, you gotta be always on your toes.
Yep.
And I've heard how much energy it takes to take care of the baby and like just having the baby in the house. Like half of your brain is over there all the time.
Yep.
So how are you balancing that? How's that affected the way you work?
Man, honestly, I'm really lucky. I've got a really supportive partner, Sam. She actually has been in real estate, so she gets it. She understands that Saturdays I'm not necessarily around as much as I'd like to be. During the work week, I've still got to be here. I've got a team. I've got to be a good example. I've got to be on time. I can't just be showing up at 10:30 in the morning because I want to lay in bed and cuddle my daughter as much as I'd love to. So I'm really lucky in that sense. In terms of how I'm trying to manage it, I'm still learning, obviously. I'm only 3 months in. So it'll change and everything throughout the time. But when I'm here, and this is the benefit that Ben and I have had of setting this space up as our own workspace, I'm here, I'm working, I'm home. So definitely an adjustment that I've had to make because with the model and the setup that we've got, we can do our work from anywhere, right? A real estate agent, I can be sitting at home right now shooting out price updates and appraisals and emails and all that sort of gear. I can't do that anymore. When I get home, I've got Savannah's being thrown at me because my partner's had her all day. So now it's my turn for the second shift, right? So I've just had to set that, all right, when I'm here, I've got to get everything done before I leave so that when I get home, I can be there and I can be present.
Do you prefer that, just having the office for work and just turning that off when you get home?
100%.
You even when Savannah's a bit older and then you can go back to working at home, you'd still
No, I've COVID working from home was the worst thing that ever happened to me. I just don't like it. I'm an old school. I need somewhere to go because otherwise I'll sit at home and watch Netflix all day. Yeah. That's just the reality. My business will go back 150% if I'm not at an office. I'm just that guy. I'm very visual. I've got to have my whiteboards that you can see over there. I've got to have my targets. I've got to know what I'm chasing. I've got to know what I'm doing each day. I'm also running a team, so I need to have somewhere for that person to come I've just had a young fella join me, actually my brother, which is really cool. Prior to that, I had another young girl working for me. It's not a great dynamic to have a 22-year-old girl coming to your house to work all day, so it's not very professional either. So, just having a workspace, I need it. I know Ben's very much the same. We're both running teams. I think that the work from home, it works for some people. I'm just not one of them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Same thing for me as when our business started, getting serious. I just found that every time I was working in a library, or just before I got my office, library or something like that, I would just be so much more productive and focused and actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Where when you're at home and that's all you've been doing, you don't realize how quickly you lose focus and how quickly you get distracted by things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely get it. And which is why this place is like your little hub, which is
It's workspace.
awesome.
Yeah, it's just a workspace. It's not a flash office.
Yeah.
You don't need a flash office in real estate. The days of clients coming to the office, that was probably 2017. That stopped. I haven't had anybody come. We never get anybody walk in here. Right. Nobody ever comes and asks us how many listings we've got. Nobody comes in and asks. Sorry, the only thing we do get is every now and then someone will stick their head in the door and ask if we've got any rentals. But other than that, we get nothing.
It might be clients picking up keys, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're main road presence.
Right.
So I think the traditional side of that, look, we're the first in our company to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So our company is a high commission style model, basically encourages people to, there's what they call a remote
hubs.
office. Yeah. And hubs. We've got one in Boulevard, we've got West End, we've got one in Aspley. But for us, it just didn't suit us. So to have something like this, we're also sort of the, higher performers in our company, and like anything, you want to surround yourself with that.
Yeah.
Me and Joel, bounce off each other. We're similar in a lot of ways, different in a lot as well. And I learned from him, what he just said about leaving things at home, or leaving things at work and going home. It's been one of the biggest growth factors for me. All 10 years I've just worked and I go home and at 9 o'clock I'm still on my iPad or laptop or whatever. And, now is the first, I'd say the last 12 months has been the first time that I can remember going, I'm just going to leave that. And it's great. It's so freeing. The first time I'm talking and, he's talking about maybe the opportunity of holidays. Holy shit, I haven't had a holiday since, a proper holiday. Yeah, I've had 4 days away. I've had a week over Christmas.
Yeah.
They're the biggest holiday I've taken. But, I had a friend that, when it took 3 weeks, and I was I just couldn't comprehend. I was
No
how
way.
does that work?
Yeah.
My world would be upside down. I'm maybe we could try. These are the things, there's no point doing what we're doing and not getting some sort of enjoyment.
Yeah. 100%.
So, yeah, it's cool, but it's, our model comes with some challenges too, which is we're creating a lot of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Also exciting.
Yeah, which is. And speaking of exciting, it's a very exciting time now, which is almost end of financial year. And let's do a stat sort of checkup. So one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to sit down and have a chat with you guys is because, I've had a look at your track record and seen the great work that you do. But there's also a big misconception out there that you need to be an inner city agent to be writing big numbers and doing, high volume, which is absolutely not true. But a lot of people don't know that, and you can't blame them because they don't see it. There's nowhere where you have we're 40, 50 minutes away from Brisbane City.
Yeah.
We're not we don't count as anywhere close to city, suburban sort of neighborhoods. And let's just do a stat update of what you guys will be finishing on this year so that the people get an idea of what you guys are doing and do this far away from the city. So Ben, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so from the stats that I can see, we do have some, so we work on settlements, obviously. It will look like we'll finish on 52 settlements, and including GST, we'll write about 900.
Right about
That's it'll be just over, it'll be probably 9.
Is that just you or both of you guys together?
That's just me.
That's
Yeah,
just you.
about 907, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. And that's crazy. And we're not in the city. Well, we are we're not Toowoomba, but we are proper like an hour away from the city, and the average like median value that you're dealing with here in Rothwell and Deception Bay is
so according to my stats, it's 703,000.
right.
That's now we've got different stats too. That's on our database, so we use Rex. On there, that's what it says. So there are some that might be undisclosed and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anywhere from probably 450 to about 1.25 has been my stat as a city.
Yeah. Awesome. What about you, Joel?
I think my numbers will be about 52 as well. I'm sitting at 50 now. I've got probably 3 or 4 to settle, plus a couple little knockoff from the rotation on realestate.com. In terms of fees, I've actually had a lot of townhouse stock come through this year that I've sold, so that has come back a little bit, but I'll probably finish a touch over 600 in terms of GCI plus GST. So that's 600. 650, 700 roughly.
That's insane. And like the neighborhoods that you guys work in, for those who don't know, they're not like massive neighborhoods either. Like population wise, it's just all pretty standard, which goes to show the amazing work that you guys are doing.
But I'd prefer to work in a neighbourhood like ours. Like you sort of said earlier, like Ben and I have both got the ability, if we wanted to pick up right now and go into Hamilton and sell 10 properties a year and write $2 million a year each, we could absolutely do that for 10 sales. But I like selling where we sell. Like I'm dealing with mums and dads. I'm dealing with first home buyers. I'm dealing with the investor who this is their retirement fund. Like we're dealing with everyday people. Like in those inner city suburbs, with some of the agents that you've had on the podcast, like I guess we're making an assumption on that, but these high profile business people, it's just a business transaction for them. On their home. It's not, I want $5 million for that, bring me $5 million, or I'll just keep it. Whereas we're dealing with the average Joe, might have 2 or 3 investment properties and have set themselves up for retirement or helping the kids buy. Like I really like that, and I prefer to do more volume in that space than less volume and potentially make more money. Plus, we got to be busy. Like I don't know how these guys that do 10 to 15 sales a year in the higher end, I don't know what they do all day. Like 50 sales a year is only 1 a week.
Right.
But it's less than 1 a week. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, the other thing that as well is it's like, what do you sort of look for? What do you want to create? So, I mean, I'm not really by nature a flashy person. Yeah. We're both dressed up for this podcast, but realistic is getting a bit cold, so I'll chuck a jacket on.
Yeah.
You'll never see me in a full suit. It'd be like chinos and a sports jacket in summer. Pretty much the moment it's just not cold and it's just considered cool, like wearing polos. And it's just what we want. Like, that's the lifestyle that I want to live. I drive a Mazda BT50. I'm not sitting there in, a Porsche SUV, Range Rover Sport. Just doesn't suit me. It doesn't suit the market. So, yeah, I get it. That's what attracts me. But I also don't like the city. So, we both live in the same suburb. We live in a nice suburb around this area. Right. Probably a little bit more affluent suburb of the area. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, other than that, I like it here. I like the community. I like the schools. I moved here from Sydney with my family when I was 12. Right. And it was the best thing we ever did. So it's hard to get me away from here because I love it.
That's awesome. See, because that right there is something you just don't hear at all. Because we have some sort of whether it's real estate culture or just media in general, what's easy to get attention, it's just that we're sort of expected to watch certain things and like certain things that we forget that we can be extremely happy doing great financially and writing great numbers, but just not living in a condo in some apartment in the middle of the city. You can live in Newport and it's be your quality of life is much better. And you might prefer genuinely a Mazda over getting a Porsche or something like that.
So look, he just came back from Eric, right? A guy by the name of Tom Ferry, amazing marketer, specialised in real estate. He just said that. He's like, he believes that the minimum you should earn in real estate is $400,000, right? How many people are actually doing that? You'd be very surprised. You will be sweet FA. Yeah. I'm not being cocky, but there's a lot of inner city agents that I will write double their fees. And I don't need a Range Rover score to tell me I'm doing well.
Yeah.
So it's just, he sat there on stage in front of 4,000 people and said, stop buying another $100,000 to $200,000 car and start buying more rentals. And that's what I prefer to do. I want to invest the money, I look after my mum and dad, I want to set them up even further. I don't want them to worry about money. My sister, my family, anything like that, I want them looked after. Do I need another car that I'll get over in a week? Probably not. If I really wanted...
Be cool though.
Look, if I wanted a Lamborghini experience, I'd go and do it for a week. But, I can't really imagine, driving a $300,000 car to a house I'm selling for $400,000.
Yeah.
That might not go too
Not a
well.
good look.
Yeah, so, and also, would I want to take it on the beach? If I go to Bribey Island, we go up Rainbow Beach or something like that, you can't take those.
Yeah, no way.
So, want a car I can chuck everything in. Yeah, it's good. No worries.
Awesome. So now, Ben, let's take everything back. So we've heard what your stats are right now.
Yep.
Let's take it all the way back to when you were just 18 years old. So what took you from a QT business student to then, I think, joining Elders? They were your first place.
Yeah.
What happened there? Because as a UQ business student, I understand the mentality of what you're thinking about, what you're considering, the options that you're juggling when you're at uni. So what was your big deciding moment where this is where I'm gonna, this is what I'm gonna do with my life?
So it started before that. I was at school. I got a scholarship to QUT for engineering.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was an engineer, electronics. I wanted to focus on electrical engineering and power.
Awesome.
So transformers, everything like that on the street. Loved the idea of it, thought it was great. Got a scholarship through Energex. All I needed was an OB 10, grade 12.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. Thought, other than teaching, those that can't do business, that's what we know. So when I did, the business degree, didn't finish it. And it was actually out of necessity. Unfortunately, my parents sort of dealing with some hard times, and I wanted to sort of focus on money, building some wealth, helping them out and all that. But also, I had a good relationship with my lecturer.
Mm.
And he said to me that I should go into real estate. He said, I've bought a lot of real estate's great, why don't you learn from the inside? So that's actually how it started. I went and door knocked every single agency on the record, and so that was a franchise because I thought that they would give a better, response, training, all that kind of stuff. Everyone told me where to go, apart from Elders. I ended up begging for some work experience, so I did that for a month. And then after that, I basically said to them, look, I've been doing work. I know this is terrible, but I've been doing work for you, and I'm not licensed. So if you don't give me a job, I'll talk to someone about it. So I'm not advising people to blackmail their way in, but
If it works.
I ended up getting my real estate license that they helped me pay for, and got into it. So I was actually part-time for 6 months.
Okay, yeah.
My boss was listing properties and I was just selling, essentially.
Yeah.
Ended up selling 5 properties in 6 months, and I saw the commission he made, and obviously nothing that I made, and went, this is cool. Dropped out of uni straight away, and within 6 months was an agent.
Awesome. So from the moment that your lecturer told you, hey, you should check this out, and we get advice from our parents or friends all over the place. So what did it actually take for you to then go, okay, maybe I could actually look into this, or maybe I'm built for this? Or did you just go for it?
This is wild, yeah. I am an actioner. When something matches what I want, it's done instantly.
Right.
So we actually built up a little bit of a resume then and there when we talked about it. He helped me make one. And that was a Thursday, and I went on a Saturday, which was really dumb because everyone was out. So that was the first time. That Saturday I went out, I was like, shit, this didn't work. And so I thought, when will people be in? So I went Monday morning. Yep.
So you
got 3 days.
So you got it on Thursday, and then you just went door knocking on Monday.
Yep.
And you just didn't put that much thought into it, and you're just like, yeah, let's give it a go.
I was like, well, can I lose? Like,
Yeah.
I'm at uni, I'm living at home.
Yeah.
There's not really much risk.
Right.
And worst case scenario, just learn.
Yeah.
Even if they teach me one thing. So
Awesome. And what was your journey like from Elders to then Kindred to now Image and now opening your own office? What has that been?
It's been a fun ride. So after that, I was my own agent in Elders. My first year I did 24 transactions, which was awesome. There was a bit of assistance with that and help, but as my own fully fledged agent. I then went to a conference and they told me that if you don't have an assistant, you are one. So I hired one instantly, and she was earning more than me, which was interesting.
Oh, okay.
Still good friends with her now. We then got a letter on our table when I went into the workplace, and it was addressed to me, and I opened up and it said that we're going to receivership. So obviously I then went to Kindred. Went to Clifford, had a phenomenal amount of success, growth there as well.
Yeah.
Learned a lot, got into partnership there as well, and had an office in Deception Bay.
Yeah.
Had ownership, and I was managing there, and I was a licensed principal.
Mm.
I was with them for 5 years, 6 years maybe.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, really, really
Long
good career,
run.
happy. Just sort of the way the business was going was not in line what I wanted. I really believe in specialty as an agent, the constant growth and performance, and just that continuing learning. So they had a bit of a different model they wanted to set up, which didn't work for me. So we ended up leaving. Myself, some of my salespeople that were under me then as well, and obviously Miliana, my assistant, she's been with me 7 years or something. Poor thing. We actually went to a company called Stone. So we went there in between because they were the only people that would take everyone, which was my core focus. I said I won't leave anyone behind. Went there, that didn't work out how we wanted. I won't say more than that. It wasn't in line with our expectations, and we were promised a lot more than what achieved. So we left there. That was 6 months, and then we moved to Image. So since we've been here, obviously, there's challenges with every company you go. It's never as perfect as it's made out. But I just knew that they gave us the freedom to be able to create what we wanted to create. Very big in creating a personal brand, and our company's built for that. Obviously, a high commission model is something I've never done before. So, traditional models, you get, 50, 70% commission, all at 70 and then minus your franchise fee, all that crap that they like to do. I'm getting 70%, you look at it, you're getting 60.
Right.
We went as low as 45% on some tiers.
Oh, wow.
So, our model is very, very favourable. Like, we get 70% of the first 100, 80% of the second, and 100% after.
Right.
So you go to a model like that, when after 200 grand, I'm earning 100% commission, completely transforms how you can pay your staff, how the marketing I can contribute. It's not all just going in my back pocket. It just means that we can market harder. We can, my assistant is now earning far more money, which is great. Sets her up. She's just bought a house. Moving to Image, I've managed to be able to help her to buy a house. She was 24, 23 buying a house. So these are things that is important to us in giving people that opportunity. I feel really comfortable going, hey, I'd love you to be part of the team. There's going to be growth here where we're actually going to allow you to build both.
Right.
I want to do that for people. I don't want to just have someone that feels like they're on the pay. What's the point? Mitty wouldn't have been with me for 7 years if she felt she was having pay. So that's the focus for us. Obviously, creating this is phase one. What can we create in a space and in a high performance model? How can we how can we take traditional real estate and do it for ourselves? We don't need to be like everyone else, which is you go into a high commission model, your numbers drop in half because you're earning the same. How do we capitalize on this? Our company is fortunate enough to give us this money. Let's use it. Right. So this is phase one of an office. We'd like to extend. There's a lot of cool things going on in our business, growth. But one of the biggest property management divisions in Australia. as well. You know, we manage 5,000 rentals. So to see the economies of scale of that, how they work, I've never heard people talk about managements like our boss, Joel Davies. It's phenomenal. Literally completely changed on their head. You know, Adam Everingham, our boss, sales directing, and really committed to the growth of our business. When you see what they're doing there, it's transformed the space and the tech we're doing as well. So, yeah, I mean, to go from that first agent to now, you know, you just got to keep learning. And it's always the people that go, I've learned too much, I don't need it. 5 years they don't exist.
Yeah.
So, that's the fun part. The shit part is always up to finding the listings. You know, I mean, as soon as you think you're too good, we've had a run. We just had a killer first quarter, both listings, settlements. You know, we're on fire. I thought I was hot shit. I'm too good for everyone. It's got dusted 5 times in a row. You know, there's no more humbling industry than this. You know, the people that are actually good are not the, you know, slick talking sales agent you think they are. Like, they are humble people because we lose just as much as we win.
Yeah.
And
100%,
people can say, you know, our industries, you know, we're given a silver spoon. Do it for a year.
Yeah.
I'll test you.
100%.
You won't hear expletives thrown at you more in any other industry.
Especially, like, I can, like, because I work in real estate, and it's also like a business model where, you know, we're doing services on behalf of a client. So this courtship with a client is something that we have to deal with as well. It's just, like, you have no idea until you're in there. Like, you have to take so many punches until you finally make something work, and just not prepared for that at all. Which brings me to you, Joe.
Yeah.
When you were studying at Narangba Valley High School back in the day, did you have any idea you'd be doing this now?
Absolutely not. I was actually studying I wanted to become a lawyer. So one step up on the least trusted. So I couldn't become a lawyer, so I became a real estate agent so that the public would love me just as much, right? But no, so I, similar to Ben's story, had all these great dreams and goals, didn't get the OP that I needed, so I had to do sort of a roundabout way to do it, lined myself up, got accepted into the places I need to get accepted into, and then just as I had to hit the button to say I'm going to do it, I just told mum and dad I don't want to do it anymore.
Right. Bagger Designs?
Yes. So then I got into sign writing and shop fitting because it was literally the only job that I could get, because my parents said to me, you've got 2 weeks to get a job, otherwise you're not living here for free anymore. So I went, okay, shit. Coles isn't going to cut that for me. So went and got a job there. And as a 17 and a half, 18-year-old young fella with a blonde mullet and all this sort of gear going on, I went in there. They told me they play video games at lunchtime and they all ride mountain bikes and skateboard and stuff. So I thought, this is great. Got a job there and was there, finished my apprenticeship, and leading into the end of my apprenticeship, saw a news article, and I've never actually told this guy this. Johnny Lynn from Harcourts at Aspley. They did a story on him, and it was a photo of him next to his GLC Mercedes, like pimped out car, and he had the number plates just because. And I was 21 at the time. My eyes lit up, and I was reading it, and they were talking about he'd just written $800,000 in commission. Right. They did this story on him, and I watched a video somewhere. I don't know. I just looked this guy up, and I watched a video. And he was talking about how he got into real estate and went to I could be getting the story wrong, so I apologise if I am. Went to a noodle bar or something, and this guy was talking to him and went, you'd make a great real estate agent. Oh, no, so he was working at the noodle bar. Anyway, and I went, that's what I want to do. Hated people, could not talk to a stranger. My whole family said to me, you know, you actually have to talk to people, and I went, hey, I'll figure that stuff out, and I figured it out. My entry into real estate was very similar to Ben's. Prospected a bunch of businesses, had a whole heap that wanted to catch up for meetings and all that sort of stuff until you'd recall them again, and never would. And I actually got a random phone call from one guy because I'd emailed his assistant by accident This was Mark Rumsey at David Dean. I'd emailed his assistant by accident, and she said she'd pass my details on because he was on holidays, and I thought, I'll never hear from him. And he was the guy who called me and gave me a shot.
Wow.
Yeah. Funny how it all happens.
Yeah, crazy. How do you go from being a complete beginner who's just starting out to becoming one of the top agents in an area?
Yeah.
What does it really take to get there?
I'm starting with
3 minutes.
Okay, so the quick version is do everything and do it well. Now, what that means is everyone knows the activities that you actually need to do. So I'm very practical, so I'm not going to give you the bullshit of just work harder, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't really matter. First bit is if you go into a company and they give you what's called orphan data, take it, right? Don't just say, oh, no, it's all right, I'm going to build my own clients. You know no one. Just remember that. I don't care if you think you know everyone. The moment you tell them you're in real estate, they hate you, right? That's just what happens.
Yeah.
And no one trusts you until you got runs on the board. So the amount of family members, friends, you name it, that did not give me business in the first 5 years is crazy. Now all of them come to me.
Yeah.
All of them do. When you've been in the business long enough, they do. So that's the first thing. Fall in love with the phone, right? My first 2 years, I'm not supposed to say this, but I was a telephone terrorist is what they would say. So if you're not making ridiculous amount of calls, you're not in real estate. There is a time where that fades. So just, as an end goal, right, it's an apprenticeship. But if you treat it as a 3-year apprenticeship, your first year you work like no one has ever known. Like my first year in real estate, I did 1,000 calls every single month, connected calls I had to write cards to those people. Every single person handwritten card. Thank you very much for your time. If you should ever need anything, I only call away. Regards, Ben. I know. Every single person.
Right.
I drop them off, and then I do my appointments in between as well. So obviously when you start, you have no money. So you do activities that give you a return, that take time and not money. As you eventuate, as you grow, don't take all your money and buy a car that you can't afford. Spend it on marketing. People like yourself, right? Build a social brand, add a mixture of online and offline content that you can deliver to the marketplace in a practical approach. So touch points are important. Don't give people one letter and think it's going to hit them. How do you approach that person with 3 calls a year, 2 texts, 3 emails, bit of social content, and 5 letters? If that person doesn't use you after, they have the best friend in real estate, well, they hate you, and that's okay. Move on. That's fine. Not everyone has to like you, but pick a core area. For instance, Rothwell, 2,826 homes, right? I love that area. That's an area we're growing. We haven't really had much market share. We've started this year where we hop between number 1 and 2 in there already in 6 months. By the end of the year, we'll definitely be number 1. We'll read well over time. Deception Bay is a harder market. This business has been here for over 30 years. I'm competing with a rent roll. They sell more off the rent roll than I sell myself. It's crazy. So, but we have the quality model rather than the quantity. That's what we focus on. How do we focus on the higher end? We've got records, $1 million, 1.16, things like that. With that other agency, you just won't get that. So they're the things that you focus on. Calls, direct mail, letterbox drops, and social media, right? Learn how to do them. At the start, you need to do them because you're broke. When you get money, get other people to do them because they're not what agents should be doing. Calls are important and always will be. The rest, you don't need a letterbox drop. Pay someone to do it. The content that you create, right? I can think I'm some wizard that done one ad and now I'm great. You're always going to produce a far better quality content than I am ever. Both in content, branding, and boosting, and so anything of social media. So stop, as soon as you get the money, put it into that, because then your business doubles, and then you can actually take the money out. Yeah. Don't spend the money straight away.
Yeah. Awesome. And Joel, you were Strathpine's top agent of 2020 as well. Do you have anything to add to that?
Mate, he's hit the nail on the head. I, in my early days, would lock myself in a room that was literally like the size of a closet with a phone and a list of all of the data of home phone numbers, is how back that was, home phone numbers of everybody in the area. And I used to listen to a lot of Grant Cardone when he would talk about bang the phones. So I just did that. you got to hit the phones. You just got to be everywhere. Because you may not get someone on the phones, but if they walk out into their letterbox and they see you, or they jump on their phone and they see you, or they open up a letter and it's got your name and face all over it. Like you really got to be everywhere. And focusing on an area is a big thing that I've done really since I left my first agency, because that agency was spread across 9 suburbs, right? Big agency, 10 agents spread across 9 suburbs. And everybody worked in each one. So you couldn't really be the king of Strathpine, or Bray Park or any of those areas. So when I left there, I started focusing on a different area, which has now led me to become, I'm number 1 agent in Dacabin and number 1 for volume in Brendale as well. So those 2 areas now, a lot of my business is people calling me because they look realestate.com, Joel's the guy, cool, I'll call him and talk to him. So that then changes your business in the future to make it easier, because I've been doing this for 8 years now. I don't still want to sit there and call like Grant Cardone. Like that fades off pretty quickly, but that's your first 2 years is just, we still got to do that stuff, of course, but to that level.
Awesome. And considering where you guys are now, so there'll be like people watching who are just in the same position as you guys were a few years ago. So let's go hyper specific with it. People who are just getting the real estate industry now as agents, who are anywhere from like 40 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes away from the city. So away from the multi-million-dollar properties. What are the tips that you would give them to ensure that they get to a place that is similar to what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so the big one I would say is patience is really important as well. As we spoke about, you overestimate what you can do in a year, but you underestimate what you can do in 5. And have a plan. So every year I have a focus, like I have a full marketing plan of what happens. The most important task of what we do is prospecting. Obviously, owners won't want to hear that, but it is. We are paid so much more than other salespeople for the reason that we have to find our business. That's the difference, right? If you're an agent, you don't have people coming to you. You might be lucky in a principal's retiring and you get lucky like that or whatever, but the majority of people don't. So if you have to go and find it, the beauty about it is where all your customers are. That's the beauty, right? It's pretty easy. So find a way to connect with them. There are other caveats around that. Look, there are agents, Arik was a prime example. We're the number 1 agent in Australia for the last 8 years, whatever, followed by the number 1 agent behind him for the last 8 years. Yeah. Sat there and said, if you don't make 200 calls a week, you're not in real estate, and grow up, basically. Wow. Right? We then had another agent across who is a phenomenal performer and competes with them on a very high level, sells higher end property. And he said, if I made that, I would be out of the industry because I'd hate myself. So one thing I've learned is there is different ways. Yeah. There are people that have personality and flair that you just can't put into words. They're charismatic, they're community-minded. I just found, I'm 28, I'm getting better with that. But when I was 22, I didn't want to do a community event. How am I going to connect with a 50-year-old with kids that are 10, or 20? That doesn't work. So it's never really been a focus for me. As I get older, kids, things like that, that would be something that I would look at. But for now, it's... I position myself as a professional. I position myself relative on our results, and just do more. If you're not getting the results, you're not booking the face-to-face appointments. That can be Skype or in person. But if you're not getting 10 face-to-face appointments a week, you're not doing enough calls. Full stop. And if you are getting 10 every single week and you do that for a year, 500, let's say 450, right? Out of 450, if you can't pick up 50 listings out of that, that's a you problem. Yeah. That is a skill problem. You need to work on your listing presentation, how you're presenting to these people. Bring someone in. Go to your principal and say, look, can you really help me? I'm going to book the shit out of these appointments. Can you just help me? Once I understand it and get on a bit of a roll, I'll be fine. Because that's the one thing, right? I mean, we have moments whenever I check that we're not doing enough business, I'm not enough doors. Yeah. That's where the rubber meets the road. If you are for a basic starting agent that wants to grow, if you're in 200 doors a year, that's phenomenal. Get that.
Yeah.
However you want to do it. If you have money, direct mail. If you want a social media, boost the hell out of it. I think you need some sort of social media content no matter. It doesn't have to be professional services. It can be just authentic stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then get it. Move up. When you're upping your price point, when you're going from, our price point isn't crazy, but, we're trying to focus on $800,000 stock plus, $1 million stock. Like, they're good commissions. So you've got to be a bit more professional with those people. When you're a bit lower, maybe you don't have to. So.
Awesome.
Yep.
And now, as we are nearing the end of this episode, this is a really fun little section that I like doing called a review deep dive, where we've had a look at what people have had to say about you. And we'll start with you, Joel. We found a review that I thought was very, very interesting, and I've got a question related to that I want to ask you. So this is how the review goes. So we contacted Joel Clifford a couple of years ago to obtain a valuation on the property, and from that time he kept in contact with us, providing advice to the many questions we put forward to him. When it came to the right time to sell, Joel supported us throughout the process and handled the challenging sale with utmost professionalism. We highly recommend Joel and the team at Image Property and would not think twice about engaging their services in the future if the need arose. Now, Joel, what makes a deal challenging and how did you deal with it successfully?
Yeah, so that was actually a really interesting sale, that one. Duplex, so 2 units in one. So not only am I negotiating with a seller and a buyer, I'm also negotiating with 2 lots of tenants in there as well, plus a property manager. The list goes on. So that property it was really strange. Great property, absolutely nothing wrong with it. We had a buyer who came, purchased it first week, got a building inspection that come back above average, tick off, everything's all good. He terminated under building pest. Just blew up, disappeared. And so we had to sort of negotiate and turn that around in a very quick amount of time, which is always hard when you've told 2 tenants, great news, we've put the property under contract. Now it's time to go back to market when they're sitting there thinking, oh, that was all over. So got that one back on the market. We ended up getting multiple offers on it, which then led to another contract. Again, great building inspection. The buyer had issues with the building inspection. Like, it was just one of those things where it was just one after the other. Yeah, just the fun ones where literally like 9 out of 10 on the building inspection, but every single little item that was there was a bit of silicone missing above the sink. There was a bit of a crack in a corner that is normal wear and tear, like just normal stuff that you see in a property of that age. But anyway, we overcame it all. Those guys were great. They sort of worked with us in getting those little bits and like, honestly, there was probably $200 worth of stuff walking around in building and pest issues. So
wild,
it was just wild. So we worked through all of that stuff. But we ended up getting a great outcome, and obviously they're very happy. They, to be completely honest, ended up getting a result about 50 grand above what they were initially targeting. Mate, devil in disguise. The first guy buggered off, and the next offer we got was 30 grand more. So it was party time at their place. Like, they went from, their mood was down here to up here within 24 hours. But it would end up turning out to be a good sale.
Yeah, awesome. And another thing that I just want to highlight from that case is that you did a valuation for those guys like a few years before, and then you still kept in touch with them, which is common sense, and everyone says it in real estate. But from what I've managed to learn about the industry, everyone knows they should do this, but like the percentage of people that really fall up on a lead like a few years into the future is like minuscule. Yeah. So that's something I think is super cool.
Yeah, well, those poor guys actually found themselves on one of my mailing lists. So I went through for a really good run through Dakman where I was selling those duplex style properties. So I actually drove around the suburb one day and wrote down the address of every single one, came back, looked them all up, made a list of all the people that owned them. And I was selling probably 2 a month at that time. I was selling heaps. So they were just getting letter after letter after letter after letter. And that was what they originally reached out to me about. Then obviously they had a cracker, like really, really cool ones. Of course, I'm going to keep in touch with that. But yeah, God help those guys, they copped a lot. Like, and
15 letters.
They probably got 15 letters or so. It's yeah.
Hey, we worked out.
It made it work. Like they're happy, I'm happy. We all good.
Awesome. And now for Ben, your review that we picked.
Oh,
is
God.
Also an interesting one. I mean, it's a good one. Like, I put it up there. Man, it's just like Ben.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Oh, they didn't read that one.
Yeah.
So Ben always texts or called back within 15 minutes and answered all my questions. His local knowledge of the area was upfront, and I found Ben to be honest, and he didn't beat around the bush. Polite and friendly, and also he recommended a professional conveyancer and broker, and together or got me over the line with buying my house. I recommend Ben and the Image Group to anyone looking for a good agent. Now, there was tons of these on like both of yours, your realestate.com profiles. I guess, what rule of thumb do you have when it comes to interacting with clients? Because I've noticed with you, it's not just a service, so people really like the way you deal with them and how you come across to them. So what's your rule of thumb for dealing with clients?
Yeah, so obviously Midiana helps a lot with me in this space too. So she really helps in that buyer role. So I'd love to just say I'm the best in the world, but she is actually great at it. First, we look at, I am everything I do is quite methodical. So I probably am not necessarily, I think I can turn it on to be, overly friendly in things, but I'm definitely conscious of the deal. I am one of those people. So, depending on the clientele, actually Midiana might deal with them. A lot of younger buyers, Midi will hold their hand, walk them through the whole process, right? So we assess their personality, whether they're going to be better for me or Midi. Typically, I'm doing the negotiation of the deal to, get it locked up. But then from there, it's what are they going to need? Yeah. So I think who are these people? What are they going to need? You're better off sending them everything, hey, here's a referral, here's who we'd recommend, yada, yada, yada. Because if they have someone, they just reply, hey, we got a friend. Cool, great. No pressure, right? There's no arguments. If you've got a friend, being in real estate, the only thing we appreciate is loyalty. The fact that friends come back and go, hey, we want to use your past clients is great. It's what we love. So if you're happy with someone, use them. Great. It's more for the people that go, hey, I'm just going to go to the bank and see what they'll lend me. It's the worst thing you could ever do, right? 60% of deals are done through brokers, independent brokers. Yeah. Brokers get access that I went to the bank, for instance, right? I was trying to get a loan back in the day for my place, and they gave me a rate of, it was 3.5%.
Good old days.
Yeah, they were nice. That was before the real down, but yeah, definitely not now. It's 6%. But so I went to Commonwealth, right? Already had a loan with them, had my business account, personal accounts, everything with them. 3.5, best we can do. Great. Went to a broker. They got the same deal, 3.25%. How? Oh, we give exclusive rates to brokers, and they're free. Why the heck would you want to go through a bank? So look, maybe more affluent areas, they know this. In our areas, they don't. 50% of people have no clue. We do a lot of first home buyers. They got no clue. So
the conception on that too is that they've got to pay the broker.
Yeah, they don't. Unless you sell the property in a year, then you might have to pay them, and it's $1,500. It's not expensive. So the other things we look at, how can we be of service, basically? We built our business on just being very, very professional. So we're very professional. Obviously, we try and be friendly, all that kind of stuff. But I say to people, I'd much prefer you to be happy with everything that happened, happy with the result, with my service, than be my best friend. I'd love to, make friends and be happy and be amicable. But there's probably 20% of the business that I get that might think I'm a bit too much, but use me because they're like, you're the guy to get the deal done. Right. So I know that. I'm aware of that on my personality. There are some pieces of business I'll bring Midi to because they're a bit more relaxed and they need, Midi there as a balance to see that it's not just this guy that runs at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But that's just me. That's who I am. And I just say, thank me by giving me your business in the future. You don't have to be my best friend, but I'm the guy that looks after you. So yeah, so we're pretty relentless, both on the buying and selling side to look after people. But yeah, that's kind of the model that I guess works for us and my personality. Yeah.
Awesome. And it seems to be working great. So That's awesome. So guys, for the next 12 months. So that's until end of next financial year. I guess now's the time where, you're looking over what's been happening in the past 12, looking to what is the big goals that you're going to be chasing in the next 12 months. What's on both of your minds, really quickly?
Me first?
Yeah,
Cool.
you go.
So figures wise, we've gone from, once again, we've done more previous businesses, but when you move, there is a lack that you get, unfortunately. You just have a slower start. So we've gone from 43 last year, we'll do 52 this year. We want to crack 60 settlements. 60 settlements should see us writing about 1.1 based on our fee structure, definitely over $1 million anyway.
Yeah. So that's the next big goal.
Yep. Yeah. So crack $1 million is the most important goal. That is something that I've never done. Obviously, been close, but never quite got there. So we'd like to do that. The addition of a third team member is what I'd like. So that's 3 in total. So just another person. Really separate Middy's role, hyper-focused into buyer management and working alongside me, and then have another person dedicated to our marketing, calendar, admin, fill-in, some relief building and pest inspection, stuff like that. Customer service admin, I would say. So create that. Other than that, pretty simple. Like, I actually want to enjoy. I think we can get more performance and enjoy my next 12 months.
Take a holiday?
Yeah, there's a couple of travels I want to do. I've tried to go to America 3 times and haven't. Been asked to speak at a conference even over there. Still haven't been able to. So I'm going. I don't know how that looks. It's either going to be at the end of the year, so beginning of next year, January, to somewhere like New York, or middle of next year to West Coast. But I'm going. It's happening. Me and my partner are going, so that's exciting. I'm building a house. Yeah. So that's expensive. So that's keeping me on my toes. But, that was a big dream of mine. I want to live on the water and do that by 30, which will just literally work out. That'll happen. Be healthier. I want to lose some more weight. I'd like to be a little bit leaner, a little bit less weights, more cardio. Be healthy. Spend a bit more time with family. My mum and dad are in Hervey Bay. Going to see them a bit more regularly. I FaceTime them a lot, but making the effort. It's kind of, I don't know. I feel like me and Joel are in a bit of a groove right now where we've got more to give, but we can also have that balance. Right. I'm really liking that at the moment. Foot's on the pedal still, but it's being smarter. Yeah. We had that conversation earlier about some of the ways you can be smarter, and so that's a priority. And just enjoy it. Like, if you are too stupid in this industry, either go too hard, you burn out. Finding some sort of balance that makes it worthwhile. That's my priority. Yeah.
Joel, what about you?
Yeah, so obviously wanting to retain the number 1 positions that we're currently holding. Plan for the next 12 months is that we want to get into the top 3 in Marumba Downs. It's an area that I've always just struggled to crack for whatever reason. There are some fairly dominant agents in there. So with my my new teammate now, my brother, I think we're going to give it a really, really red hot crack. Figures-wise, mate, similar to Ben, planning on hitting the 60 mark. Best year I've ever had was 52, which was a couple of years ago. So trying to get to that, which should put us, if we can lift and sort of move from the townhouse market back into the houses, dual keys, that sort of stuff, 750 plus. Ben's got a lot more. Well, depending if we break into Marumba Downs, I suppose, because
that could go to 9.
That could go to 9 very, very quickly if we can get that $1 million plus stock in Castle Hill and North Quarter, that area. But, I guess the big thing with Image that Image do sell to their agents as well is having that lifestyle balance. As we spoke earlier, I've got a 3-month-old daughter now. 12 months ago, my life was real estate. Now I've got this little thing that I've got to look after, and I want to spend some time with her. She's really cool. So, having that, having the team set up behind us, and if we can crank along and hit those goals along the way. Obviously, I got a bunch of personal goals with my partner. We sat down only probably a month or so ago and worked out a big board on what we've got. It's all there in terms of the next 12 months, the next 5 years, all of that sort of stuff. So we've got some really cool stuff that we're working towards. But business-wise, mate, just keep enjoying it and go to that next level. Like, every year's got to be the next level. That's what we always work towards.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys so much. So one of the main, I guess, goals behind this podcast is the viewers. We give them some value, and I'm sure they've got tons of value from this. And also to me as a marketing professional working in real estate, to get value by understanding really what it is that you guys are dealing with, what your goals are, what your aspirations are, and where we can help is super important to us as well. So those are the two things that we're going to be closing this off on. So we'll start with us first, which is we have our Just List special question, which is, as established agents, we've been both in the market for around like 8 years-ish, and you're going from that multiple six-figure to now cracking that million. That is the next goal. So in what areas can people like us, like honestly, in terms of like what we can provide and the opportunities out there, what are ways in which people like us can help you take that jump from 6 to 7 figures?
I think I'll start on this one. I think from a marketing perspective, the biggest mistake that agents make is posting marketing about how good they are. It's a big shift that I've made. Like, I got into real estate at 21. Obviously, I wanted to tell everybody how great I was, and I just sold this property for 350 grand, which was the price back then, and nobody else in the world could have ever done that, right? Where that's why people hate real estate agents. Like, how often do you scroll through Facebook and see some poor young guy who's just done one of those posts? I saw one the other day where this guy said, the market doesn't dictate your price, the agent does. And he had 75 comments of his local marketplace just roasting him, just ripping into him. I think from a marketing standpoint, obviously there are lead gen systems and things like that, but from a content point, as an agent, I've started putting out education-based content, right? So what is a contract deposit? How are interest rates affecting the marketplace right now? What are 3 tips to best engage a buyer in your property? And my whole philosophy around that is that I've got a bunch of people that follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all of that. They now see me as an authority figure in real estate. They know that I know what I'm talking about. They know that they feel like they know me, and I'm not the only agent that does it. There are other agents, and funnily enough, being down at Aric on the weekend, we've got friends that work at other agents in various locations, and I met a guy that I've never met before. I just follow him on Instagram, but I felt like I knew him. As soon as, my friend introduced me to him, and I said, I know this guy. He doesn't know who I am. We work in different areas, but I follow him on Instagram because his content's cool, and I just felt like I knew him. So from that point, I think from an agent's perspective, taking the ego out of it, because when I walk into a lounge room now of someone who follows my Instagram or has seen all of that stuff, like I send that to people, obviously, check this out, get a bit of an idea who I am. They feel like they know me. I don't know them from a bar of soap, or I've spoken to them on the phone 5 or 6 times, but they feel like they know me. So I think that's a really cool way that marketing seems to be going. I've seen a lot of the stuff that you're doing, which is sort of going down that road instead of, I'm so great, I had 50 buyers show up. Like, honestly, man, you posted an ad on realestate.com and you were the guy at the door. Like, obviously agents then have to leverage that to a point to get a great result, because I could open the door and do absolutely nothing with that and the property won't sell. But, that ego-driven marketing is just terrible, and the marketplace hates it.
Absolutely. Ben, how can we...
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, we think people give a shit about us more than they actually do. So, the number one viewer of agent stuff is other agents. Please remember that. But the one thing that I'd say is, and I'm at fault here, I'm a prime example of someone who hasn't. The one thing I'm religious on is property videos. So if the property's not tenanted, or even if it is and we get permission, but a lot of those I stay away from because it can come with issues. They want it taken down, things like that. But if we can get a property video, be in your property video. For me, that's worked. Now, we started off when I was younger doing some silly ones. You can YouTube me. Holy shit, there's some in a bathtub and stuff. We did everything, right? We tried it because it was about branding. It was about getting out there, getting seen. I stay away from that now. But the more people are seeing you, the more impressions you're making. So a couple of things that I break it down to is one, lead gen is powerful, right? You guys are amazing at that tool, but having a lead gen system in place helps. I don't care who you are, you never have enough leads. If you have a problem with leads, get more people, like grow your business, scale. The next thing I'd look at is obviously your video content, right? So that can be so much more than you think. Joel's doing a great example of helping people education based. It's not something that I've really done, if I'm honest, but it's great. He's getting great success out of it. The thing that I'm looking at is how do I create, a quality market update to my database every month. As I said, I'm not as much relationship. I'm more give you service, right? Now, your market update isn't, hey, I just sold this property. It was a great result. No one gives a shit, right? Say to them, hey guys, you're probably seeing right now on the news that they're saying the world's over. Well, hey, this is the reality of what's happening. There's been 6 sales at this price point in our marketplace with an average days of year. They have changed, they haven't. It's blown out, it's gotten better. These are the things that we've got to be saying, like real information. Hey, we're a shortage of stock right now. Everyone's going through it. We just sat in a conference of 4,000 people. Everyone's had a shortage of stock. It's actually a good time to list your property because if interest rates change, everyone gets off their fixed period and we have double the stock, your property's going down. Yeah. So these are things that I actually want to get into, and I'm not doing it now, but I want to. Content like that's really good. Just more video, do more. Don't make an excuse, do more. As I said, if you can't afford to do that stuff, do it yourself. You talk to us about packages that you guys even have, which is like, we will train you to be authentic and just do it yourself. Like, chuck more in there. You don't like the video, delete it. We had one agent there that was like, the best thing about video is you don't like it, it gets a shit response. You put it on there for an hour, everyone hates it, delete it. Yeah. It's forgotten in a day.
Yeah. No one remembers.
Get over it, right?
Yeah.
No one cares. No one's saving your videos, trust me. So don't worry about that. And then the next thing is like how you use social media. Like people forget that it's an audience, right? So, you have a database of 1,000 people. That's all social media is. You have a farm area of 2,000 homes. That's all it is. Love, service, be hyper-focused, niche. Don't be scared to niche. Like when I say I'm the Deception Bay and Rothwell agent, people go, oh, really? Well, yeah, of course I can sell in Clontarf. Of course I can sell in Newport. Of course I can sell in these suburbs, Burpengary East. It's easy, right? There's no difference. If anything, it's easier in those areas. There's more buyers. But when you're hyper-focused, you'll get 70% of your market from those places. Yeah. And that's when you get call-ins. That's when you get noticed. Everyone wants the person that serves them. You don't go to an Audi dealer to buy a BMW, right? Yeah. That's just how it works. So you want the Rothwell guy, you call me. That's what happens. Yeah. And even if I don't sell your house or help you buy, I'm going to give you facts that you probably don't know. Yeah. So,
Awesome. Well, that's super exciting for me to hear. And I guess to finish it off, last thing, you're going somewhere, you're in an elevator, another brand new agent, first one to the market, gets it with you. You've got 15 seconds to give him one piece of advice. So he's sitting right there, right in the barrel of my camera.
15 seconds.
15 seconds. Joel, you go first. Just one thing that you would tell them.
Enjoy the phone. Enjoy the phone. That's it.
Okay.
Be prepared to sacrifice 2 years.
Awesome. Yep. Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down and having a chat.
Easy.
I'm sure this has been super valuable for the people watching, and it definitely has been for me. And once again, you guys are doing terrific work here, and I just can't wait to see what you guys get up to in the next 12 months. And hopefully we'll have episode 30 or 40, and you guys can make a return, and we can do a full update.
The follow-up.
Yeah, the follow-up. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And
thanks for having us.
If you enjoy this kind of content, hit subscribe, like, follow, whatever platform you're on. And see you guys next episode.